You're not sold at a market. That's what they don't tell you. The market is for animals. For you, a government official comes to the door. He's polite. He bows to your father. He uses words like opportunity and service to the kingdom. He has a ledger. Your name goes into it in careful brushstrokes. Your father signs without looking at you. You're 9 years old. You've just been entered into a government registry, the same registry they use for conscripted slaves. The official closes his ledger, bows again, leaves. Your mother watches from the doorway. She says nothing that could be taken back later. The Gibang is 2 days' walk from your village. You don't cry on the road. The woman escorting you watches your face the whole way. You understand instinctively that crying is a kind of information. And information here belongs to whoever collects it. You rank below the cook, below the woman who empties chamber pots, below the girl who arrived 3 weeks before you, who already knows this and makes sure you know it too. That night, you lie on your mat and listen to someone playing the geomungo in the room above. 6 strings. The sound is low, almost like breathing. You'll spend the next 3 years learning to make that sound. Your fingers will bleed first. 6 weeks in, the house mother hands you a brush. Not a calligraphy brush, a makeup brush. You sit in front of a copper mirror while she explains the layers. White lead powder first, mixed with water until it moves like cream. Applied from the hairline down. Your real face disappears under it in 3 passes, then red at the lips, then eyebrows drawn high and thin, nowhere near where your actual brows are. She steps back, looks at you in the mirror. Better, she says. You look at the girl in the mirror. She has your eyes. Everything else belongs to the jibang. The makeup takes 2 hours to apply correctly. You will apply it every performance day for the next 15 years. That is approximately 4,000 hours of your life, spent becoming someone else's idea of a woman. You learn to think of it as armor. By age 11, you can play the geomungo well enough that the house mother stops correcting your posture. You've memorized 60 classical Chinese poems and recite them while 3 senior women watch your mouth for swallowed syllables. You learn the ceremonial fan dance, which takes 8 months, because every movement of the wrist carries meaning. A fan tilted outward means welcome. Tilted inward means goodbye. The men you'll perform for know this language. You learn to speak it without thinking. What they don't teach you is how to unhear things. At banquets, powerful men speak freely. They forget you understand classical Chinese. They forget you've read the same political texts they have. A magistrate insults a colleague in language so cutting it would end a friendship between equals. Then he turns and asks you to play something cheerful. You play something cheerful. You smile while you do it. You are furniture that can pour wine and recite poetry. The men find this arrangement deeply comfortable. You're 13 the first time a patron reaches for you during a performance. The house mother is in the corner. She catches your eye and gives you the smallest possible movement of her head. Not yet. You redirect without breaking the song. Afterward, she tells you, "You handled that well." 5 words. The most direct praise you've received since arriving. You hold them for a week. She also tells you that what comes next, what later eventually means, is something you'll understand when they decide you're ready. She says ready the way people say winter. Not something you choose, something that arrives. You're 15 when it arrives. 3 days of preparation, a physician, an evaluation, new silk robes that cost more than your father made in a year, a room with men who've already decided the outcome before you enter. Afterward, one of the older girls finds you in the courtyard. She doesn't ask how you are. She hands you a piece of dried persimmon, your favorite, something you mentioned once, months ago. She remembered. She doesn't say anything. You eat it in silence. The kindness of it is almost worse than the other thing. Almost. By 17, you're on the rotation list. 5 banquets a week, sometimes 6. Perform until the last official decides he's done. Home by the 3rd hour, past midnight. Sleep. Repeat. The men you serve hold your entire life in their hands, and mostly don't think about this. A magistrate in a bad mood can have your assignments cut, your housing reduced, your food allocation lowered, by mentioning it once. So you learn to manage moods the way a farmer manages weather. You read the signs. You adjust before the storm. You're 20 years old and the smartest woman in every room you enter. Every man in that room has more power than you. You understand this precisely, the way you understand music theory. You just can't play a different instrument. At 23, a high official becomes your exclusive patron. He's 55, stable, formal. Exclusive means fewer banquets. One man's moods to manage instead of 30. He gives you a mother-of-pearl comb on your first anniversary. You sleep with it in your sleeve for a week before you let yourself keep it in your box. Then a bronze mirror, a lacquered brush case. You start calculating. Gifts, minus house fees, minus cosmetics, minus the quiet bribes that keep your name in good standing. In 3 years, maybe 4, you could petition for registry removal. The legal mechanism exists. You've confirmed it twice. You write the number down one night, fold the paper small, keep it at the bottom of your box. This is the first thing you've ever owned that has only your handwriting on it. At 26, his visit's slow. Business in the northern provinces. A dispute that occupies him for months. The gifts thin out. You rework the math. 4 years instead of 3. Maybe 5. The number stays the same. The timeline stretches. You keep calculating. The math still works. It has to. At 28, the arrangement dissolves. No ceremony, no conversation. A messenger comes for the bronze mirror and the silk he gifted you. Loans, he says. Property of the household. He has a list. He checks the items off. He leaves. The paper with your number is still at the bottom of your box. The number is the same. The method to reach it just closed. You're 28. In the Gibang, this is the beginning of the end, and everyone knows it, but no one says it. The new girls are 15. The magistrates who used to request you by name now request them. Your hands are still skilled, but skill isn't what's being purchased here. You've always known this. You chose not to think about it because thinking about it made the days impossible to survive. By 31, banquets slow. By 34, you're pouring tea for merchants instead of wine for officials. Your knees grind when you kneel. Your back holds the curve they trained into you permanently. Your body has been keeping count even when you weren't. At 38, you're teaching the young girls calligraphy. The 9-year-old you once held steady at the brushwork table is 17 now. She plays the geomungo better than you did at her age. She has a patron who gives her gifts she counts carefully at night. You've seen her lips moving, running the numbers. You know that math by heart. You don't tell her it doesn't add up. You remember what it felt like to believe it did. That belief was the rope you held on dark nights. You don't cut ropes people are holding. You die at 46. The record doesn't say from what exactly. Illness, exhaustion. They bury you outside the city walls in the common ground where the Chonmin go. No marker. The registry office removes your name from its ledger with the same careful brushstrokes they used to enter it 37 years before. You spoke 4 languages. You understood politics sophisticated enough that officials lowered their voices when they remembered you were listening. You composed poetry that made powerful men go quiet and simply hear. You knew medicine, history, etiquette, and the precise emotional weight of every verse ever written about loss. You owned a comb that might have been yours, a piece of paper with a number you never reached. The girl you steadied at the calligraphy table is 34 now. She has her own younger girl to teach. She's still running the math. She's sure she's close. The number at the bottom of her box says 3 more years. It said the same thing for 7. And if you think the registry was a cage, in Joseon Korea, at least the system had a name for what you were. In Edo, Japan, A girl could be born completely free. One bad harvest, one family debt, and she'd disappear into a world with no registry, no legal standing, and no number to save toward. That story is right here.